Standing here with me, Lee Pringle, and we're here to talk about the Color of Music Festival.
Yes.
Welcome to Bounce Around Charleston.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, now, what is the Color of Music Festival all about?
The Color of Music Festival is a festival highlighting Black classically trained musicians, many of whom are coming to Charleston from the 23rd to the 27th from the most prestigious conservatories and music schools in the world.
And this is the first time in Charleston?
The first time anywhere in the country where you've had professional Black classically trained musicians, 70% of them with PhDs, on a concert stage playing.
First time in the country.
Yes. So it's a big endeavor.
And so what inspired you to pull this together?
Well, as your audience might know from your lineup to this show, I've been very involved supporting the Charleston Symphony in their efforts,
yes,
in particular outreach to underserved communities. And for more than 13 years, the CSO Gospel Choir and the Spiritual Ensemble, which I started, have been a very anchor arts organization for the symphony and the community. And we decided that we needed to assist them in making sure that the deficit of Black classically trained musicians on the orchestral stage was addressed. And what better place to do that than Charleston, where 40% of all Africans who came into this colony came through Fort Moultrie. So our history and lineage is completely connected. And as a result, the Charleston Symphony being the oldest arts organization, professional arts organization, we thought it was a perfect time that the CSO Spiritual Ensemble host this event and help showcase all this talent that's in the orchestral world.
Because as African Americans, music is tied into our culture.
And I will say, as Black people around the world, and that's why it's called the Black Classical Music Festival, because we don't want to alienate anyone who is in this country or may have origins from some other part of the world that is Black. So yes, African Americans have been, trailblazers, and we can start with, Marian Anderson and go up the lineage up to the most popular person who left the Metropolitan stage, and that was obviously Denise Graves. But from Leontine Price, Kathleen Battle, Grace Brumby, there's just many, many people who've gotten next to the podium, but it hasn't trickled down to the string section or the harp section.
So we're talking about chamber music, organ recitals?
Yes, starting with organ. And this is really historic for Charleston. Charleston, being called the Holy City, has more pipe organs than most cities can even count on one hand. Unfortunately, the Black community in particular have not had the endowments musically to upkeep those organs. So we have multi-generations of young Black kids who do not know what a pipe organ sounds like. Because
I'm being honest, because when I speak of the Black church and organs, I'm talking about a B3 Hammond.
Yeah, a Hammond B3, and that is so 1950 to current, whereas the classical instrument of the organ, historic institutions like Spelman College, Dr. Joyce Vince Johnson is coming, and she's going to do the first recital on the 23rd. Dr. Anthony Williams from Fisk University, Dr. William Barr from Tuskegee. And we're bringing in a young man from Charlotte, North Carolina, who is at Friendship Missionary Baptist Church, which is one of the newer sanctuaries. A Missionary Baptist Church, very unusual. They have a very, very grand organ that you just don't hear about going into Black congregations these days.
And he'll be here too?
He'll be here too, yeah. That's Mr. Nathaniel Gums, yeah.
And so people will be able to come to the recitals and sit back and enjoy?
Absolutely. And the high noon, we're asking people to bring a bag lunch and come and enjoy the high noon session starting on the 23rd. And so shortly after that, we go into the chamber ensembles.
So all of this will happen right here in Charleston?
Right here in Charleston at the historic Dock Street Theater, Grace Episcopal Church, many places. They can go to thecolorofmusic.org for more details.
And you were able to go around the country and find all of these great musicians, and they're going to come here to the Holy City.
Yes, we have people coming as far as Utah. We have about 15 musicians out of the 45 coming from New York, just a plethora of folks coming from Atlanta, Tennessee, the Carolinas. And this is going to be a history in the making. So we're delighted. We have the incomparable Pulitzer Prize winning George T. Walker, who will be here. We're going to be performing, the orchestra will be playing several of his compositions.
But I want you to hold some of this information because we're going to take a station break. And when we come right back, you're going to hear more about the Color of Music Festival for the first time in the country right here in Charleston. Okay, welcome back to Bounce Around Charleston. Standing here with me, Lee Pringle, talking about the Color of Music Festival. Now, I'm going to let you share with us some very important events that you really want the community to know about.
Well, as we talked about in the first segment, the organ recitals and chamber music recitals, matinee recitals, are at 12 noon and 2 o'clock. But from 5:30 on, there are some key events that are taking place at Memminger Auditorium as well as City Gallery down at Waterfront Park. We're asking the community to come out and see this 45-member orchestra do a premiere in Charleston called The Ordering of Moses by Nathaniel Dett. It is rarely performed. The last time I think it was performed was in San Diego, California several years ago. But we're going to do that with a brand new choral group that I started called the Color of Music Chorale. And we have some outstanding soloists that are coming in. Roberta Laws, who is a dramatic soprano, is known to Charleston, toured all over the world with David Stahl, the late David Stahl, doing Porgy and Bess. Dr. Danny Washington, who is from Somerville, but he's a professor of voice at the University of Michigan. An incredible true contralto by the name of Nicole Mitchell, who is coming also from New York, and a young man by the name of Anthony Mack, who has been all over the world doing the Three More Tenors and Opera Noir in New York, is going to be a part of the quartet.
Now, I'm listening to you spill all this out. So it's apparent to me that you've been traveling around the country listening to some wonderful music.
I have been fortunate to travel around the world, and actually this particular festival was inspired while being in Toronto, Canada.
Okay.
Because at that time, a very famous Baroque orchestra was playing Chevalier de Saint-Georges' compositions. I had no idea that he was a black composer. But he predates Mozart by 11 years and was a general in Napoleon's army, in addition to being appointed to the Paris Opera, but because he was mulatto, the divas of the day would not sing for him.
Would not sing for him.
But he was a master fencer and just an incredible, incredible man. Even John Adams commented while in Paris that he had met a black man that was so outstanding, he questioned why his country treated blacks the way they did. Interesting thought.
Wow. And it's all about music.
It's all about music.
They've often said that music calms the savage beast.
It does.
It does, doesn't it? So now, this Color of Music Festival, it's going to put Charleston, we're already on the map, but it's really going to give us a name, don't you?
I think so as well. You know, Charleston is known, as I said, for being a city known for the arts. The Charleston Symphony anchored that in 1936. Splato USA for 30 plus years have been a destination of choice as well. There are numerous things in this city that people choose to come. Condé Nast has rated us. You name it, all the magazines have commented on Charleston's hospitality and how cosmopolitan it is.
And how are you able to get all these people to agree to come and do this?
Let's just say 14-hour days. But I think when you have a good plan and they see that it's well executed, people are inspired to be a part of it. And I can assure you, as an inaugural event, it took a lot of arm twisting, but people know the quality of some of the products that I've put out there, and I'm very humbled and grateful that from the city of Charleston, North Charleston, you know, I can go on and on. Nigel Redding at Spoleto and his entire staff, there are numerous people in this community that are contributing to this effort.
Now, will this be the only time we do this?
No, we're in full-fledged planning mode for 2014. We're going to be doing some outstanding compositions of black composers and some of the European composers of the era that we'll showcase.
Let's talk about some ticket prices here.
Ticket prices are very reasonable. We have church group rates for youth groups at $7 for 10 or more. All the senior discounts are on the website, and they can be as low as $20 for seniors. The recitals and the matinees as well have, you know, $10, $20 tickets. And we're hoping folks will go on the website at colorofmusic.org and get all the detailed information.
You heard it here on Bounce Around Charleston, one of the greatest music festivals in Charleston. The Color Music Festival will be right here in Charleston. And we want to say thank you so much.
Thank you.
For being here with us on Bounce Around Charleston.
Thanks so much.
And here is a list of the event schedule.